My interest is in how the brain processes food reward. I did the first neuroimaging study of feeding in humans. We were measuring brain response as they were eating little pieces of chocolate. I really wanted to understand areas of the brain that represent the pleasure of the food. Pepsi was interested in our research. I think they wanted to try to understand how to make healthier foods. And so they came to me with the question, is it possible to decrease the amount of calories in a typical sugar-sweetened beverage without compromising reward? So in the lab, we created a series of beverages where we manipulated the sweetness independent of calories. So that way we have equally sweet drinks, but drinks of different calorie amounts.
You're going to be receiving liquids through the mouthpiece, okay?
We looked at the brain's areas that are responsible for reward. What we thought was that the highest calorie beverage would become the most liked beverage, but that's not what we found. Instead, it was actually the middle doses, where sweetness and calories are matched, that was eliciting the greatest brain response. In nature, the relationship between sweetness and energy is pretty stable. So when you manipulate sensory information without regard for the nutritional content, you're essentially creating mismatches. And so we conducted follow-up studies to see what was going on.
Comfortable under there?
And what we found was that when sweetness matches the calories, then the body metabolizes that energy. But when something was too sweet for the amount of calories or not sweet enough for the amount of calories, the body's ability to metabolize those calories was blunted. Those calories are not being used as a fuel. Instead, they might be converted into fat. So if you reduce calories by adding artificial sweetener, you could actually be doing more harm than good. When I saw the findings, I shared it.
驚異のロングヒットから13年。
Over the last 2 decades, something called the food movement got started. At the same time, there were shortages in the supermarket. Food industry is dominated by a handful of very powerful companies.
We're working with Tyson. We're going to sign an executive order today, I believe.
When the pandemic hit, the curtain was peeled back.
食はどう変わったのか。
There were whole crops being buried.
That's not the only problem.
Working in the fields, our work is essential, but we as people were treated as disposable.
How could I go to work for these billion-dollar companies and feed all these people, all to come home to hear my son's stomach growl?
これはアメリカに限った話ではない。超加工食品の危険。巨大食品企業の市場独占。給与は下がり続けている。子供の糖尿病の増加。
There's a whole arsenal of additives designed to mislead the brain.
私のご飯大丈夫？
I wanted to wake up in the morning believing what I was doing. This is wealth right here.
食べることを学ぼう。
This is our chance to chart a new course.
I want to see people living life, not just fighting to survive.
Just imagine if the government decided to step in on the side of the consumer and the citizen.
We not only can do it, we have to.
フードインク、ポストコロナ。